Anti-Semitism has no place in our community. Racism has no place in our community. And I know how offensive it has been to many in the Jewish community to have pandemic comparisons to the Holocaust. As mayor, I have an incredibly important role to play in setting the bar much higher, in that anti-Semitism and other racism and other forms of racism just cannot be tolerated. But it goes beyond symbolism and words. We have to go to actions. And I've been talking a lot about this. It's one of the reasons that I'm running for mayor, because we are an incredibly diverse community and we don't act that way. I sit here as a white, privileged female, and I understand that I don't understand the barriers and the hurt that people feel when they actually can't fully express themselves, when they can't fully participate in our economy, in our social scenes, because of the barriers due to their particular perspectives. So as mayor, I'm committing to ensure that our municipal government reflects the diversity of the community that we represent. Very specific ideas. I'm all about action. So it's ensuring when we hire people that we are training our new employees, that we're investing and ensuring and dealing with the unconscious biases that many of us face. We are one of the largest procurers of goods and services in the city of Calgary, and we also have an ability to ensure and lever that purchasing power in terms of the suppliers that we choose and who actually qualify to do business with the city. Are they practicing anti-racism? Are they living these values? I'm so committed to this because I believe we have the opportunity to reset and totally embrace the diversity of our community and to ensure that everyone feels safe, seen, and heard. This is my vision for Calgary. We have an opportunity to be a leader in energy transition and climate change. This is a fundamental aspect of my platform, action on climate change. We've had a city council and a city administration that has failed to meet our commitments consistently. It's an accountability issue and it's a resource issue because we've actually not dedicated resources to make change. What I am proposing is a three-part plan. One, to get our city operations meeting their carbon emission reductions. We do this by resourcing them to make the right decision to reduce energy consumption and carbon. The second piece of the plan is to work with ENMAX. We are the sole shareholder of ENMAX, and we've not used it as a policy lever, and we've not used and worked with them in partnership to help them get to net zero and earlier than 2050. I believe we can do this working together by 2045. The third piece of the platform is to really support all of us homeowners as well as businesses to take the steps to invest in energy reduction technologies, green technologies, and we're doing that on the platform by proposing an incentive against property taxes that actually help us all with the economics. This again is really important because of the struggles we've all faced in the 4 years, and the economics are tough to make these choices, particularly when we've been struggling. So having this incentive, which in some sense is like a loan against your property taxes, we can kickstart investments in reducing energy consumption and collectively reduce a looming tax liability that we will hold responsibly and collectively of $1.8 billion because of the current federal carbon levy. But this goes beyond sort of these programs. I know, talking with our kids, that climate change and action on climate change is absolutely critical, and they don't see us being leaders. Many of you know that I come out of the energy sector, and I worked at the Alberta Department of Energy back in the 1990s and actually led groundbreaking work at that time called the Clean Air Strategy of Alberta, where we actually had for the first time the Department of Energy and Department of Environment working to reduce carbon emissions. So funny that we're still dealing with this. So this runs in just the fiber of my being to make sure that we are acting. But there's an economic opportunity here that we're not talking about, where we, Calgary, can become the global center for energy transition, carbon capture, and carbon reduction. This is going to generate jobs, which also goes to one of my primary pillars in the platform that is also going to help keep our kids here. 80,000 new jobs driven by innovation, particularly in green tech and carbon reduction. I believe one of the opportunities coming out of the crisis of this pandemic is that we get to build back our city better, including everyone in our recovery, with a real understanding of the unique barriers that face many of our vulnerable populations. One of the key strengths I bring to the mayor's chair is I have worked in the not-for-profit sector in our community for many years, most recently with YWCA Calgary and previously with United Way. And I know the expertise that exists in the vast social services network and organizations, including ethnocultural organizations, and the power of community. I am committing as mayor to ensure that we are properly funding this network of services. We're not doing it, and I know that specifically from my firsthand experiences. We need to give sustained funding, not half measures and pilot projects, which has been the experience that we've seen, particularly in the last 4 years, from this city council. So with me, you're going to get change and action on this front. We also have to ensure that we're properly resourcing a program like Fair Entry, which ensures access to transit and to recreation and other services. Again, my reflection coming out of the pandemic is how isolation also really impacts the mental health, particularly of those that are vulnerable in our community. And I am committed again to ensuring that those services and that we're funding them deliberately so the people that need them have access to them. You'll see specifically in my platform, building strong partnerships. I'm moving beyond symbolism, half measures, and pilot projects. The best example is the mental health and addiction strategy. I have talked long and hard on this campaign trail about the concern, the shadow pandemic of mental health that is really facing all of our citizens, no matter where you are on the spectrum, particularly those that are vulnerable in our community. So I'm committed to sustained funding. It's not contingent on anything, because if we invest now, this is actually what helps reduce social challenges over time and creates safety in numbers and safety in mental health, because we're dealing head on with the trauma that people are facing now and helping them to find more meaningful ways to cope. But we've got to put people first as we move forward, and I think we've got the opportunity to do that. And that is the leadership and action that I'm committing to. The pandemic has been devastating in our community. We have lost loved ones. People have lost their businesses. We have been shaken to our core in terms of our own mental health and not able to connect with each other. I've already led on this campaign, and if mayor, should I be so lucky, I think through my leadership in this campaign is that I will act. I started calling for a vaccine passport that the city could implement back in July. I called again and build a coalition of candidates that would support in implementing a masking bylaw with exemption for vaccine passports on August 30th. It was only in response to the province finally acting that our city council acted, despite that I had given them the way to do it, given our current municipal act. With me, you're going to get action. And we are committed to ensure the safety, health, and well-being of our citizens. And it's not about pointing to other levels in government and waiting for them to act. We have the ability. And I think this current council has been woefully irresponsible in how they've dealt with this. If we had acted and put vaccine passports before we saw extensive community transmission in the summer, we would not be in this dire situation now. And going forward in my platform, you'll see that I'm committing to a health bylaw that would actually help us enact if we see case counts rising again, once we get this under control now, that we actually have the means to act, that we monitor wastewater, that we can be proactive Again, I am seeing reactive leadership by this current council, and especially the 3 councillors running for mayor. We need to do better. We can do better. I'm the leader that can do better. I've been talking with dear friends in the Jewish community, and I know there's a real concern about losing our young ones. This is personal for me as well. I have a 24-year-old stepson who left the city last year because he couldn't find a job here, did not see opportunity here, did not see the inclusive value set that was important to him. Huge flag for me, and one of the reasons that I've taken the bold move to run to be our city's next mayor. My platform is all about creating opportunity, creating cool things to do for our kids, creating the optimism and belief that this is an amazing place and this is where you can build your lives and your future. And a huge outcome through my leadership that I am aiming for as mayor, should I be so lucky, is that we become this beacon and vibrant place where people want to be. It's about revitalizing downtown. And I have an idea where we leverage our existing post-secondary campuses and we scale them. The city can do this and help to repurpose a lot of that empty real estate. So we've got students and faculty living and working downtown. Downtown becomes a neighborhood that's vibrant. And my dream is that we can actually be downtown. I can be downtown at 3 a.m. and buy a Reuben sandwich. This is my dream. But it's more than symbolism in that, because there are things to do. We're investing in infrastructure. We're investing in the arts, in our local artists. We're building a train and supporting an amazing project to connect our airport to downtown out to Banff. So Calgary becomes the center, the place to be, because there's cool things to do. This is the secret of keeping our kids here and attracting them back. We already have affordability incomparable to many other cities, and we're not talking about it. But it's beyond that. We have to create economic opportunity and belief. We have to get our mojo back. And I'm the positive, action-oriented leader, actual leader, that can galvanize us and bring us all together so that we can be this place where people want to be globally.